Hello everyone, my name is Ivy Meiji Romano, and in this video, we are going to discuss Republic Act 9710, or also known as the Magna Carta of Women. So what is Magna Carta of Women? It is a comprehensive women's human rights law that seeks to eliminate discrimination against women by recognizing, protecting, fulfilling, and promoting the rights of Filipino women, especially those in marginalized sector. So those who are in marginalized sector belongs to senior citizens, solo parents, migrant workers, persons with disabilities, small farmers and rural workers, workers in the formal economy, and as well as in informal economy. So those are known as the in marginalized sector, and they are being protected in this Republic Act. The Republic Act 9710, or the Magna Carta of Women, was 7 years in the making, and the legislative debates started in 2002 in 12th Congress, and it was signed into law in August 14, 2009. It took effect on September 15, 2009 and adopted by PCW Commissioner on March 30, 2010. How does Republic Act 9710, or the Magna Carta of Women, defines discrimination against women? So it is defined as any gender-based distinction, exclusion, or restriction, any act or omission that directly or indirectly excludes or restricts women in the recognition and promotion of their rights, and discrimination compounded by or intersecting with other grounds, status, or conditions such as ethnicity, age, poverty, or religion. So, example of these are there are two male and female employees, but the female employee receive a less salary compared to the male even though they have the same job. So that is an example of that is a violation of the Magna Carta of Women. And also if you are in a group of men who are discussing something and then you want to express your opinion or ideas, but then they just ignore you just because you are a female, then that's another violation of Magna Carta of Women. So what are the rights of women guaranteed under the Magna Carta of Women? So all rights in the Philippine Constitution and those rights recognized under international instruments duly signed and ratified by the Philippines in consonance with the Philippine laws shall be rights of women under the Magna Carta of Women. So here are the following rights of women under the Magna Carta of Women. Number one is the protection from all forms of violence. So all government personnel, appointing authorities, executive managerial positions involved in the protection and defense of women shall regularly undergo the mandatory training on gender and human rights, and all the barangays shall establish a vow desk, and vow programs and services shall be ensured at all times. Second is the protection security in times of disaster, calamities, and other crisis situations. So during disaster, calamities, and crisis, LGUs and concerned agencies shall develop and implement a gendered, responsive, and rights-based work and financial plan. So sexual violence safety and also safety in evacuation centers. Next is the participation and representation. So it is to capacitate women employees to strengthen their qualifications and performance for third-level positions. So examples of the third-level positions are executive managers, like that. Increase in participation of women of at least 40% membership to all development councils, representation of women or women's group in policy and decision-making bodies in the entire national, and local bodies. Next is equal access and elimination of discrimination against women in education, scholarships, and training. So for DepEd, CHED, and TESDA to develop and promote gender-sensitive curriculum, instructional materials, capacity building for faculty and personnel. So the enrollment of women in non-traditional skills training in vocational and tertiary levels shall be encouraged, and expulsion and non-readmission of women faculty and student due to pregnancy outside of marriage shall be outlawed, and pregnant students shall be assisted while in school of available support services and counseling to ensure completion of their studies. And next is the equal participation in sports. So the aim is to train more female coaches for girls and women's teams, to conduct activities such as sports clinics and seminars for potential female leaders, coaches, and teachers for at least once a year, provide equal incentives and awards for both men and women for any competition, and provide sufficient funds and equal opportunities for women athletes and coaches. Next is the non-discrimination in employment in the field of military, police, and other similar services. So incremental at least 50-50 ratio of men and women in the recruitment and training of women in the police force, forensics, medical legal or judicial services, and social work services. Consideration on women's physical and biological build in physical fitness tests as requirements for entry, promotion, or schooling. To provide the benefits under existing laws such as maternity leaves, solo parent privileges, and leaves due to gynecological disorders. To establish a child care facility, breastfeeding room for military, police, and other women employees, and increase the quota to 20% for female to PMA, OCS, PNPA, and PPSC. Next is the equal rights in all matters relating to marriage and family relations. So the objective is to repeal or amend the existing laws that are discriminatory to women family code. So the Article 14 of the Family Code giving preference to the father's consent to the marriage of children between 18 and 21. The Article 96 of Family Code giving preference for the husband's decision on the administration of conjugal properties. Article 211 giving preference to the husband's decision over the persons of their common children. Article 225 giving preference to the husband's decision on the exercise of legal guardianship over the property of an emancipated common child. Article 55 are repeated physical abuse and grossly abusive conduct as ground for legal separation. Article 333 on adultery and concubinage, and Article 220 on the definition of vagrants and prostitutions. So these articles in the Family Code will either be repealed or amended because some of these are being discriminatory to the women. Next is the comprehensive health services and health information and education covering all stages of a woman's life cycle. So it is the access to comprehensive health program or the maternal care, promotion of breastfeeding and proper nutrition for lactating. In case of VAUSI victims, comprehensive health services shall be provided in terms of psychosocial, therapeutic, medical, and legal interventions. Care of elderly women, management, treatment, and intervention of mental health problems of women and girls. So that is the women's right to health. And lastly is the special leave benefits for women. So any female employee in the public and private sector, regardless of age and civil status, shall be entitled to a special leave of 2 months with full pay based on her gross monthly compensation due to surgery caused by gynecological disorders with the following conditions. She has rendered at least 6 months continuous employment service. In the event of an extended leave, she may use her earned leave credits. So this special leave shall be non-cumulative and non-convertible to cash. The Magna Carta of Women also guarantees the civil, political, and economic rights of women in the marginalized sectors, particularly the right to food security and resources for food production, including equal rights in the titling of the land and issuance of stewardship contracts and patents, localized, accessible, secure, and affordable housing, employment, livelihood, credit, capital, and technology, skills training, scholarships, especially in research and development aimed towards women-friendly farm technology, representation and participation in policy-making or decision-making bodies in the regional, national, and international levels, access to information regarding policies on women, including programs, projects, and funding outlays that affect them, social protection, recognition and preservation of cultural identity and integrity provided that these cultural systems and practices are not discriminatory to women, inclusion in discussions on peace and development, services and interventions for women, especially in difficult circumstances or WEDC, protection of girl children against all forms of discrimination in education, health and nutrition and skills development, and protection of women senior citizens. So here is a sample situation on the violation of the Republic Act 9710, or also known as the Magna Carta of Women, where the ex-president Rodrigo Duterte made a rape joke over the Australian rape victim. So the Commission on Human Rights, or CHR, said that President-elect Rodrigo Duterte on that time violated the Magna Carta of Women when he made a controversial statement regarding a murdered Australian rape victim in April. So Duterte had said that he was angered that the victim was raped, but then said that she was so beautiful and the mayor should have been first. So in order to prevent this kind of situations again, there are preventive measures that the Commission on Human Rights have made. So in its resolution, the Commission also listed its recommendations to further strengthen the protection of women's rights. So the Commission on Human Rights urged Congress to revisit the Magna Carta and amend the Anti-Sexual Harassment Act to require all employers to conduct annual gender sensitivity seminars for its employees, and the Commission on Elections should also institute a code of conduct for candidates for public office to adhere to gender-sensitive language and conduct during campaigns, and to foster culture of respect for the rights of women. The CHR said gender sensitivity education should be incorporated in the school curricula and programs of the Department of Education and the Commission on Higher Education. So that is all about the Republic Act 9710, or the Magna Carta of Women.